Good morning, guys. In the last session, we discussed about the development process for our mini project development. We created a boot application with below dependencies. Then we configured data source properties and we created entity classes. We created entity classes and repository interfaces. Then we created DTO classes and we have completed service interface creation. So based on the requirement, we have analyzed what are the methods required for our application development. In the counselor service, I have taken 3 methods. In the inquiry service, I have taken 4 methods. So I asked you people to try the implementation part for these methods. All right. Counselor service, there are 3 methods available. One is for registration, another one is for login, third one is to get the dashboard data. Next one, go to inquiry service. In the inquiry service, we are having 4 methods. One is adding the inquiry, getting all the inquiries, get inquiries with the filter, and getting the inquiry by ID to edit the inquiry. So today we need to work on the implementation part for these service layer methods. Did anybody tried implementing these methods, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yesterday I
I have
asked
tried,
you
sir.
people to
Yes, sir.
try the
Yes,
implementation
sir.
part. Did anybody tried implementation part for these methods?
Yes,
Yes,
sir. I
sir.
have tried, sir.
Yes,
You
sir.
tried?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So how many of you able to complete and how many of you not able to complete the methods implementation, guys? Could you please confirm in the chat box? Able to complete, not able to complete. How many of you able to complete these methods? How many of you not able to complete these methods? Come on, guys. How many of you able to complete? How many of you not able to complete these methods? Only 3 people are responding. Come on. Quickly respond. How many of you able to complete these methods implementation? Not able to complete. Many people are not able to complete these methods implementation. Okay. Now, so first let us start with the counselor service IMPL. This is registration. Let me open the requirement document also. Okay, based on this requirement document, now we are going to implement these methods now. Yeah, so this is our document. Login functionality, registration functionality available. First one, counselor registration. When we click on that submit button, after entering the form data, when we click on the submit button, the data will come in the form of one object. That object we need to insert into database table. So for this, we need to talk to the repository. So private counselor repository object I need to inject counselor repository. Let me go for auto wiring. My service bean want to communicate with the repository bean. So that's why I am auto wiring repository object into my service. Then register method, counselor registration. Already we are getting the data in the form of object. So simply we need to call repository dot save method. Counselor repository dot save of that entity object. Okay, so when we save this object, then it is going to return saved counselor. saved counselor object we are going to get. If a saved counselor ID is generated, then I'm going to return true value. Saved counselor dot get counselor ID. Okay, so here if null not equal to saved counselor dot get counselor ID, then I will return true value. Otherwise, it is a false value. We are not setting the primary key value for the column. For the primary key value, we are using auto wiring. Okay, sorry, identity generator we are using for the primary key column. So primary key column value will be auto generated. So simply I am calling counselor repository dot save method, which is going to return saved counselor object. If that saved counselor object ID is auto generated, if ID is not equal to null, that means my record is inserted. I'm returning true. Otherwise, I'm returning false value. Counselor repository dot save of counselor, saved counselor object will be available. If saved counselor ID not equal to null, then I will return true. Otherwise, I will return false value. ID is not coming from the form, guys. If you check only name, email, password, phone number coming from the form, ID is not coming from the form. ID will be auto generated. So whatever the object is saved, in that object ID will be populated. If ID not equal to null, this method will return true. True means record is inserted successfully. Otherwise, this method will return false value. False means the record is not inserted. Are you guys able to understand this functionality? Are you guys able to understand this functionality?
Yes.
So
Yes, sir.
this is
Yes, sir.
register method. Whenever counselor create the account, whenever they register, their data will come in the form of object. That object I'm saving in the database and I'm returning true or false. If it is true, that means record is inserted. If it is false, that means record is not inserted. Is this clear for everyone?
Yeah,
Yes.
Ashok.
Yes?
Actually, we need to check whether the email is already registered or not
Yes,
also, right?
we will check that. We will check that. If
Okay.
it is a duplicate email ID, we will check that. If the record is already available, we will not insert. If the record is not available, then only we are going to insert.
Okay.
Okay, currently this is the registration functionality, guys. Are you clear with my point now?
Sir, can you show that
Yes, sir.
repository class once, sir, quickly?
Sir, nothing is there, sir. Just we are extending the properties from JPA repository.
Okay, sir. Okay. Extend.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is our register method. Currently, duplicate email check we are not doing. We need to do the duplicate email check. If the email is not available, then only we need to insert that record. Okay, we will implement that later. Next one, login functionality. Once the account is created, counselor can log in with that email ID and password. So if you see from the login page, email ID and password we are getting. With this email ID and password, if the record is available, that means login success, otherwise login failure. So to implement that functionality, so here we are going to write one method. Counselor repository is available. So here to check the record presence based on the email ID and password, we need to write one find by method. Go to the repository, public counselor, find by email and password. So string email, comma, string password. You no need to write a query here. You no need to write a query. So based on the variables available, you can generate the find by method. So based on your method, query will be constructed by data JPA. Find by email and password. So find by is a fixed keyword, email is a variable, and password is a variable. This method is going to generate a query like this. Select a star from counselor table where email ID is equal to given email and password is equal to given password. So I'm trying to retrieve a record based on the email ID and password. With the given email ID and password, if the record is present in the database, that means the login is a success. otherwise the login is failure. With the given email ID and password, if the record is available, that means login is a success. Otherwise, we can say login is failure. Okay, good. Perfect. Fine. Find by email and password. It is a find by method. So this method we are writing, that means the query will be generated like this. Okay, perfect. So next one. So here, let us call that method counselor repository dot find by email and password. With this, we are going to get that counselor object. Same counselor object I am returning from this method. That counselor object I am returning from that method. So if the counselor record is available, then it will be a normal record. Otherwise, it is going to return a null value. If the record is available, that is fine. If the record is not available, then it is going to return a null value. Okay. So this is a login functionality. By using email ID and password, I'm trying to identify the record. If the record is available, that means it is a valid login. Otherwise, it is a invalid login. Then next one, we need to get the dashboard data, right? Are you guys clear with this login functionality, guys?
Yes, sir.
Are you
Yes.
clear with the login functionality?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we are clear with this login functionality. Just we are writing one find by method to retrieve the record based on the email and password. So based on this method, JPA will prepare query like this. So if the record is available, counselor object will be returned. If the record is not available, it will return null value. The next one, I want to get the dashboard data. So what is the meaning of getting the dashboard data? So we need to identify the total inquiries which are available for that counselor, open inquiries available for that counselor, enrolled inquiries available for that counselor, lost inquiries available for that counselor. Okay, so we need to get the data. Based on the counselor ID. Right. For this, we need to inject counselor repository available here. So from the inquiry table, we need to get the data. So how many inquiries added by this particular counselor? In that, how many inquiries are still open? How many inquiries are enrolled? How many inquiries are lost? So inquiry repository, we need to inject here. So private inquiry repository object. Where is that inquiry repository?
Sir, why the save method is not showing, but the save all is only showing, sir? Some scenarios in that save.
Okay. Save method will show, sir, it is a predefined method.
Yeah, should be the same one.
There is a spelling mistake here.
Sir, your voice is very low, sir, today. Why?
Is it audible now?
Yes, but as compared to other days, it's very low.
Oh. Okay. Inquiry repository. Yeah. I'm injecting inquiry repository object here by using auto binary. Now, I want to get the data for the dashboard based on the counselor ID. So go to inquiry repository. In the inquiry repository, we are having inquiry. It is talking to inquiry table. So in this inquiry, do we have counselor ID, guys? In this inquiry, do we have the counselor ID? Yes, counselor object is available. There is a foreign key relationship. What is the relation between inquiry table and counselor table, guys? Can anyone tell me what is the relation between inquiry table and counselor table?
Many to one.
Many to one.
Many to one.
Many to one relationship is available. Multiple inquiries can be added by single counselor. Now, when that counselor logged in into the application, based on that counselor ID, we need to find out the inquiries and we need to display that data in the dashboard. Okay, so how many total inquiries added by that counselor? How many inquiries are open? How many inquiries are enrolled? And how many inquiries are lost? Based on the counselor ID, we need to find out this data. So to do this, we can write a custom query or we can write a find by method also. Anything is fine. So here I'm going to write public list of inquiries, get inquiries by counselor ID. So we are going to take counselor ID as a parameter and I'm going to write one custom query here to find the data based on the counselor ID. So @query, we are going to specify value is equal to select star from inquiries table where counselor ID is equal to the given counselor ID. So this method is going to identify that. Then it is a native query. Native query is equal to true. So that means I'm writing one plain SQL query which is used to retrieve the records based on given counselor ID. Select star from inquiries table. Select star from inquiry table. So in that inquiry table, how many inquiries are available based on the given counselor ID? I want to retrieve those records. So it is a SQL query. So the table name and column names I am using. Select star from this table where counselor ID is equal to given counselor ID. I'm writing this query. Then go to here in the dashboard method. Let us call this custom query method inquiry repository dot get inquiries by counselor ID. So it is going to give you the list of inquiries based on that counselor ID. Inquiry list we are going to get. So from this inquiry list, we need to identify how many inquiries are. From this inquiry list, we need to identify how many inquiries are open, how many inquiries are new, how many inquiries are lost. Okay, so I need to prepare one object which is dashboard response. Dashboard response is equal to new dashboard response object. Dashboard response object I have created. So we got the list of total inquiries, right? So we can identify inquiry list dot size. So total, how many inquiries are available? So that is our total inquiries.
Yes, sir.
Total inquiries. Okay. From this one, from this list only, we need to identify how many inquiries are open and how many inquiries are closed, how many inquiries are lost. So any idea, guys, how can we do this one? Any idea that we can identify?
Count by
Use
method.
the stream list with the stream
Count by method. We
to
can
filter.
write a
Inquiry
we can write a
status.
method in JPA
Do I need
inquiry
to
repository.
do I need to retrieve the records again from the database or no need to retrieve the records again from the database?
No need to iterate.
No need to retrieve, sir.
No need to retrieve. Are you sure?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes.
And from inquiry table.
Do I need to retrieve the records from the database once again or no need to retrieve the records from the database once again?
Need to retrieve, sir.
Need to
We
retrieve
should
one.
not retrieve. We can count the entries by counselor ID.
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
By using inquiry status, like you can wait. No?
We can use the stream API to filter
You
those.
can use the stream API and we can identify the data. So already we are retrieving all the inquiries from the database, right? Then why to retrieve the records once again from the database, guys? We have already retrieved the records from the database table. We already retrieved the records from the database table. So we got all the inquiries belongs to that counselor. Then why we need to retrieve the records again? Why we need to retrieve the records again from the database? Already we have retrieved all the records from the table based on that counselor ID. Then why we need to retrieve the records once again? Is it really required to retrieve the records? Already you got all the inquiries. In that inquiries, the inquiry counts also will be available. Why you need to retrieve the records once again? Why you need to retrieve the records once again? Come on.
We can use filter from the string.
Sorry.
We can filter the data from existing list.
We can filter the data from the existing list, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So we got all the inquiries based on the counselor ID. So we got all the list of inquiries. Inquiries list, we can identify this as total inquiries. Okay, total inquiries we got, and enrolled inquiries, lost inquiries we can identify. Simply, we need to use the stream API and we can filter the records. So inquiries list, inquiry list dot stream, inquiry list dot stream dot filter. Filter condition you can apply if inquiry dot get inquiry status, if inquiry status dot equals to enrolled, if the status dot equals to enrolled, then I'm going to collect this list. I'm going to collect this list dot collect collectors dot to list. Okay, collectors dot to list dot size. So this is going to give me the size of enrolled inquiries. It is going to give me the enrolled inquiries count. So inquiries list dot stream API we are using. Inside the stream API, we are having a filter. From that filter, we are doing the operation. If inquiry status dot equals to enrolled, then collect them to one list and get the enrolled inquiries. So I got the total inquiry size and I got the enrolled inquiry size. Then once again, I'm going to use the inquiry list dot stream. If inquiry list status dot lost, then it is the count of lost inquiries. It is the count of lost inquiries. Total inquiries, enrolled inquiries, and lost inquiries available. Similarly, you can find out how many inquiries are still open. How many inquiries are still open? Open inquiries count we are going to get. Open inquiries count we are getting, right? So this is my dashboard method. So get a dashboard info. When the counselor login is successful, the dashboard method will be called with the counselor ID. So dashboard response object I have created. Based on the counselor ID, I'm executing one custom query, which is going to retrieve all the inquiries which are added by that counselor ID. Select start from inquiry table where counselor ID is equal to given value, which is going to return the list of inquiries added by that particular counselor. Then the total inquiry size, we are calculating list dot size, which will give the total inquiry count. Then from the total inquiries, we are using a stream API and we are filtering the records. So if the inquiry status is enrolled, then I'm getting the size enrolled inquiries. If the status is lost, then I'm getting the list of those records size. Open inquiry size also I'm getting. So lost inquiries, open inquiries, enrolled inquiries size we are getting. Total inquiries, enrolled inquiries, and lost inquiry size we are getting, right? And we are going to set the data to the response object, response dot set total inquiries. Okay, total inquiry count we are setting. In the dashboard response, the variable data types I have taken as a long value. So let me convert them to integer type. we are getting the size as a int value. So I'm going to replace this long values with the int values so that I can set the data to this dashboard object. Response dot set total inquiries and response dot set enrolled inquiries size I'm setting. Response dot set lost inquiries and open inquiries. Response dot set open inquiries. So we are setting that. Then finally, we are going to return the response object. This response object is representing the data that we need to display in the dashboard of our application. So when the counselor logged into the project, they will go to the registration page, they will create the account, then their account will be created in the database. Then they will go for the login. With the email ID and password, they will log in. With that email ID and password, if the record is available, they will be redirected to the dashboard page. With the email ID and password, if the record is not available, then their account will be displaying as invalid credentials. So if the login is successful, they will be redirected to the dashboard page. In the dashboard page, we are going to display the numbers based on their counselor ID. So based on the counselor ID, we are getting all the inquiries available in the table. So the inquiries list size, we are considering as total inquiries of that counselor. Then as we have the list to process the data, we are using a stream API. Inside the stream API, there is a filter method. Inside the stream API, there is a filter method. Using that filter, we are filtering the data based on the inquiry status, and we are identifying the size of open inquiries, lost inquiries, and enrolled inquiries. So whatever the numbers we are getting, all the numbers we are setting to the dashboard response object, and finally we are returning the response object. So how many times I'm communicating with the database to get the dashboard data?
One time.
One time.
Only one time.
Only one time we are communicating with the database, and we are getting all the inquiries based on the counselor ID. Then we are using Java 8 Stream API in order to process this data. We are using Java 8 Stream API in order to process this data. Is this clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Here we use method chaining, right, sir?
Yeah, filter dot collect dot size method chaining we are using.
So that inquiry repository you auto-wide at the top, right, sir?
Correct.
Sir, is there
So
any
counselor
other
repository is auto-wide and inquiry repository is also auto-wide, because from this counselor service we are talking to counselor table as well as we are talking to inquiry table also.
actually one thing, like I think the auto wearing, right? So we should have a constructor, right? At all constructor. So
You
without
can
constructor,
write a constructor injection, you can write setter injection, you can do the field injection. Currently here field injection is available.
okay, you're using field injection. Okay.
Yeah. So because at the variable level we are writing at the rate auto-wide, that means it is a field injection.
If you want to use constructor, you have to annotate with at
Yeah,
all
you can
constructor,
remove
right?
the variable level annotation and we can write a constructor. For that constructor, you can take those two parameters.
Okay.
Sir, does this method needs to go inside the inquiry service implementation, sir, or
Not required, sir. Directly we are communicating with the repository. From the repository, we are getting the records. From those records, we are doing the stream operation and we are doing the filter operation and we are identifying the numbers.
right? Even if we write there also, it doesn't matter, right, sir? It is
Yes,
the same
you
thing.
can write in the any service IMPL, sir. I'm writing in the counselor service IMPL. You can write that in the inquiry service IMPL also. You can write the method anywhere, but you need to focus on the logic. What logic we are writing in the method.
Right, sir.
Yeah, sure. One thing, actually, Spring adjusting to go with the constructor based thing, right?
Yes, sir.
Actually,
Constructor is a recommended approach. If you want, I can change it to the constructor.
okay, field will have some problem when the class is loading, right?
Yeah. That's it. Now it will perform constructor injection.
Constructor. So instead of doing this, if we add the, I think, Lombok library, we can add at all our constructor also we can do, right? We can use.
Yes, all as constructor also.
Also we can do. Okay.
Yeah. Perfect. So guys, are you able to understand the dashboard method, which is used to get the data for the dashboard page of counselor?
Yes.
Is it difficult or easy to understand? So total 3 methods are there in the counselor service IMPL. So one method is for counselor registration, another method is for counselor login, another method for dashboard response. Okay, and here one more thing we need to implement, guys. If counselor record is not available, then only we need to insert the counselor, otherwise we should not insert the counselor. Okay, so for this what I will do is counselor repository. Here I will write one more method, that is find by email ID. Select star from counselor table where email ID is equal to given email. That query I want to execute. For that I will write a find by method. So public counselor find by email with the given email ID. I'm going to retrieve the record. Find by email. So with this email ID, if the record is not available, then only I will insert the record. Otherwise, I will not insert the record. That is duplicate email check that we are going to do. With that ID, if the record is available, then I will not insert. If that ID, if the record is not available, then only I'm going to insert. So for this, in the counselor service, I will write one more extra method. So before the registration, I'm going to write public counselor find by email, then string email. One extra method I have added in the counselor service, find by email. Go to counselor service IMPL. Let us override that method also. Find by email method I am overriding. So what we will do here, simple, counselor repository dot find by email. With the given email ID, I'm trying to return one record, right? So with this mail ID, I will check whether record is already available or not. With this mail ID, if the record is already available, then I will not insert that record. With this mail ID, if the record is not available, then only I am going to insert that record. So in the counselor service, yesterday we have taken 3 methods, and based on the requirement, I have added one more method today, that is find by email. What is the purpose of adding this find by email? It is used for checking the duplicate records. So if any counselor already registered with the same mail ID, then duplicate email error we have to display. If no record is available with that mail ID, then we can insert that record and we can display success message on the page. Guys, you understand why I am adding one extra method in the counselor service?
Yes, sir.
Why we are adding one extra method in the counselor service?
To find
the
the
Duplicate check. To implement duplicate check, we are adding one extra method here with a find by email. All right, good. Then counselor service IMPL class is ready. We have implementing counselor service interface. In that there are 4 methods available. We are overriding the 4 methods. Inside the counselor service, we are injecting counselor repository and inquiry repository through constructor injection. And there is a find by email method. So it is going to find out the record in the counselor table based on the mail ID. If the record is available, it will return the record. If not available, it will return the null value. Then the register method is available. When the counselor create the new account, the record will be saved in the database table. And the login method is available. When they log in, based on their email ID and password, we are trying to identify the record is available in the database or not. If the record is available, then that is a valid login. If the record is not available, then it is a invalid login. Then get the dashboard data, dashboard response object we have created. Okay, so we are getting the all the inquiries of the counselor based on the counselor ID. Here counselor ID is a foreign key in the inquiry table. counselor ID is a foreign key in the inquiry table. So that's why I am writing one custom query in the inquiry repository. So I'm retrieving all the inquiries based on the counselor ID with a custom query. So with that, I will get the list of records of list of inquiries added by counselor based on the counselor ID. So the list size is called total inquiries. Then I'm using stream API and I'm filtering. If the inquiry status is enrolled, then I'm getting the enrolled inquiries list. If the inquiry status is lost, I'm getting the last inquiry size. If the inquiry status is open, I'm getting the open inquiries size. All these sizes we are setting to the dashboard response object and we are returning our dashboard response object. So these are the four methods we have in the counselor service and we are able to implement these four methods.
Sir,
Yeah. Yes.
Ashok sir.
Yeah.
Sir, inquiry status, sir, these constant names are available in the database, sir. Enrolled, lost, open.
Yes, sir. Whenever we are saving the inquiry, we will set the status like this. When the inquiry is adding, when the new inquiry we are adding, right here, by default, the status will go as open status. Then they can go here, they can edit and they can modify the status of the inquiry as enrolled or lost inquiry. By default, we will set the status as open.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir, that find email, where we are using that one, sir?
In the controller method, I am going to use that method. If the record is available, I will send a error message to the UI saying that duplicate email ID. If the record is not available, then I will say the record is going to save. This method I will call in the controller method.
Right, sir. And you change those data types to integer, sir, or long, sir? Those
Integer,
enrolled
sir,
inquiry.
integer.
All integer. Okay.
Because the size method is giving the integer, so I change it the dashboard response data types to the integer type now.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. Are you clear with my point?
Yeah.
Sir,
Sir,
over here, why we are not using auto wait, sir?
Auto wiring is not required when we have single constructor for your class. So this class is already represented as a Spring Bean. At the rate service means this class is represented as a Spring Bean. So IOC container should create the class object. So to create the object, there is only one parameter constructor available. So when you are having single parameter constructor with the parameters, writing auto void is optional. If you don't write also, this constructor will be called. If you write also, if you don't write also, no problem. That's why when you write auto voiding at the constructor, it is giving a warning, remove unnecessary auto void annotation, because IOC container should create the object for this class. This is a Spring Bean. In this class, only one constructor available. Definitely it should call the same constructor by passing these objects as a parameter. By default, dependency injection will happen. That's why this annotation is optional here.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
sir, here we are using directly hard-coded strings in
We
real
will
time.
remove them, sir. We will remove them to the constant class. We will remove them.
Okay.
Currently, we are writing the logic. I will replace them with the constant variables.
Okay.
Okay, good. So with this, counselor service logic is completed, guys. Now you check it. Now you check it. Now you check it. How many of you able to complete like this? Because I'm writing the code, so I can write this code very easily. So I'm explaining and I'm writing the code. Within 20 minutes, we are able to complete this logic. Within 30 minutes, I'm able to write this logic in the counselor service because I'm explaining you the line by line code. If I don't need to explain you, within 10 minutes, I will complete this logic. If I'm working in the project, if I don't need to explain you, if it is not a class, this logic I can complete in 10 minutes of time. As I'm teaching you, I'm taking some time, line by line code I'm writing, and I'm clarifying your doubts in the middle, and I am writing the logic. That's why it is taking 30 minutes of time to write these 5 methods. But in the reality, if I am not teaching in the class, this logic I will complete in 10 minutes only. But that is not important. So that is the reason I'm telling you, before coming to the class, you need to give a try to implement the logic on your own. If you can implement the logic on your own, that means your thought process is good. If you are not able to implement the logic, you need to check where you are facing the problem, where you are not getting the ideas. And today, In front of you, I have implemented all the methods. Now you can check it where you have done the mistake in the implementation part. So if you really try to implement this logic yesterday, today you can realize where you have done the mistake. If you don't try to implement this logic, then nobody can help you. You will not get anything. Come on, guys. Now tell me where you got problem yesterday while implementing this logic. Where you got stuck? Can anyone speak out?
Filtered to status. That is the problem. I haven't thought how to implement it.
Sorry?
So
I got stuck in dashboards.
You got stuck in the dashboard method implementation. So you
Yeah.
got the idea how to implement it now?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone
Thank you.
else? Where else you have done the mistake?
Sir, I stuck on the filtering the status.
Dashboard response is about predefined method, predefined class.
Hello, sir, you are not audible.
Yeah, guys, all of you can hear my voice now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So with this, we are able to complete counselor service IMPL. Guys, please realize if you are watching, when I am writing the code, if you are watching, then you will not understand anything. So that is the reason yesterday I have given the methods required for you. So I am expecting that you are doing some homework. You are trying to do the coding on your own. So when you do the code on your own, then you will understand the problems that you are facing. And when I am implementing that code in the class, you can check how you are doing the implementation and how I'm doing the implementation and where you are doing the mistakes and where you are doing the mistakes that you can identify. Okay, good. So with this,
Sir, is the can you go to the counselor repo one more time, sir? Is it extending that CRUD repository or JPA CRUD repository or which one, sir? I don't know why the save is not JPA repository. Okay, interface extends the class, sir, or one more interface, right, sir? One more
interface extends interface.
Got it. Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. So with this, counselor service is ready, guys. Now let me go for inquiry service. So in the inquiry service, again we are having few methods: adding the inquiry, getting all the inquiries based on the counselor ID, and get inquiries with the filter. Okay, and getting the particular inquiry based on the inquiry ID is available. So these are the four methods we are having in the inquiry service. Now we need to implement these methods. There are four methods available and we need to implement these methods now. All right, good. Okay, go to here and create one service IMPL. Yes, service IMPL is available. We need to perform the auto wiring. Okay, let me take a constructor. Let us perform the constructor injection. We need to talk to the inquiry repository. Inquiry repository object I'm taking. Let us take a variable private inquiry repository performing auto wiring. Then this dot inquiry repository is equal to inquiry repository. So as we are going to communicate with the inquiry table, we are injecting inquiry repository object. Okay, so through constructor we are injecting. So that's why I'm taking one parameter as the constructor. As there is a single parameter as the constructor, no need to write @auto-void annotation. Then next, add the inquiry object and counselor ID is available. So when we are saving the inquiry, we need to set the counselor ID also, and we need to save the inquiry. Okay, so counselor ID is available. Based on the counselor ID, we need to get the counselor record, and we need to set that to the inquiry object, and we need to save the inquiry. So directly, if you save like this, inquiry repository dot save of inquiry, what is the problem, guys? If you save the inquiry like this, then what is the problem?
Counselor ID will
Get the counselor ID.
Counselor ID will not be available. So if you see from the UI, when we are saving the inquiry, we are getting the name, phone number, mode of the class, course name, and status will come. Only this data will be saved in the table, but counselor ID will not be saved in the database table. This inquiry is added by which counselor, we can't track it. So that's why we need to talk to the counselor repository also. Let me take the counselor repository also as a parameter. Counselor repository. Yes, let me inject this counselor repository also into inquiry service. This dot counselor repository is equal to counselor repo. Auto wiring I am doing for both repository objects. All right. Now, when we are going to save the inquiry, okay, directly if you save it, only inquiry will be saved. Now, if save dot get inquiry ID, if it is not equal to null, then return true value, otherwise return false value. That is fine. This method is used to add the inquiry, but to add the inquiry, counselor ID is also important. So that's why what we will do, counselor repository dot find by ID. We are going to pass counselor ID as a parameter, or else we are going to return null value. With the counselor ID, we need to find out the record. With the counselor ID, we need to find out the record. So if counselor is null, if a counselor is equal to null, then I'm going to throw the exception. Throw new exception, no counselor found. Without counselor ID, we are not going to save the inquiry. Without counselor ID, we are not going to save the inquiry. So here I'm going to call a method counselor repository dot find by ID. Based on the counselor ID, I'm trying to retrieve the counselor object, or else I'm going to return the null value. If the counselor object is null, that means no counselor is available. I'm going to throw the exception. Otherwise, now I'm going to set that inquiry dot set counselor. The counselor object that we have retrieved, we are setting, and we are going to save the counselor. So first, whenever I'm going to add the inquiry, I'm having a counselor ID and I'm having the inquiry object. Inquiry object will contain the form data, the name, phone number, mode, course, status. Like this, the values will come in the form of object. Instead of saving that object directly, first, based on the counselor ID, I'm trying to retrieve the counselor record from the table. If that, with this ID, if the record is not available, I'm going to return null value. If the counselor object is null, though I'm not going to insert that record, no counselor is available. So if this condition is not satisfied, then I will set counselor object to the inquiry object. Then I'm going to save that inquiry object. Throw new exception. It is giving the problem. So throws exception. When you are writing throws exception at the method, that should be declared at the method signature. I'm declaring that at the method signature, throws exception. Here I'm throwing the exception now. This method is used to save the record into database table. Inquiry will be saved in the database table along with the counselor ID. So with the counselor ID, I'm retrieving the record. then I'm setting that counselor object to the inquiry object. Then finally, I'm saving the inquiry into database table. If the inquiry is saved, inquiry ID will be generated. Inquiry ID will be generated. With that ID, if it is ID not equal to null, I will return true. Otherwise, I will return false value. This part is very important, guys. Saving the record directly, you can do it. Directly, you can save the inquiry into database table. But this inquiry added by which counselor, that we need to set. To set the counselor ID to the inquiry object, we are writing this logic. Based on the counselor ID, we are retrieving the counselor record. If the counselor record is null, we are throwing the exception. If the counselor ID is not null, we are setting the counselor object to the inquiry object, and we are saving that inquiry in the database table. So when you save the inquiry in the database table, counselor ID also will be saved in the inquiry table, so that we can understand this inquiry is saved by which counselor. You got my point?
Yes.
Able to understand? If you see the inquiry table, counselor ID is not available directly here. To set the counselor ID directly, it is not available. There is an association mapping. Inquiry entity is having a relationship with the counselor entity, that is a many-to-one relationship. Okay. So before saving that inquiry, we are fetching the counselor record with the counselor ID. We are setting the counselor object to the inquiry object. This is association. Okay, associating counselor to inquiry. So when you associate counselor to the inquiry, counselor ID will be saved in the inquiry table. Then we are saving the inquiry. If the inquiry is saved, inquiry ID will be generated, then we are returning true. Otherwise, we are returning false value. Are you able to understand this logic? Without this logic also, you can save the inquiry. But what is the problem? Guys, without this logic also, you can save the inquiry. Then what is the problem?
Which counselor saved the
Which counselor is saved by which counselor? That is difficult to understand. This is saved by which counselor? That is difficult to understand. Okay, so that's why we are setting like this. Able to understand the logic I have implemented to save the inquiry in the table?
Yeah, sure. One thing. So instead of using the counselor, we can use the optional class, right, for find by ID.
So if you don't write like this, it will give the optional object only.
Okay, okay, yeah.
If you don't call this one, that will give you optional object. I'm calling directly RL's null value.
Okay, okay.
So while login, we can set counselor object to the session object, right?
So in the controller, we will do that, sir.
Okay.
When we go for the controller, we will implement that logic.
Sir, we can throw the exception in method chaining as well, right?
Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
Sir, here we are throwing the predefined exception class, right? We can write custom exception.
Custom, yes, we can do it.
So this counselor is coming from entity. Which one is that? Line 28, the counselor, sir.
It is coming from the database, sir. Based on the ID will come from the controller. With that ID, we are retrieving the record from the database.
Can you go to the counselor object, sir? That one?
It is an entity class.
Entity. Okay. Did we define that in that repo, sir? That find by ID, or that is coming
That is a
from the
predefined
framework,
method. Find by ID is a predefined method.
right, sir? Okay.
In the repository, that is not available. That is a predefined method. Based on the primary key, we can retrieve the record. Okay. Next one, guys. There is a method called get all inquiries method is available. So this is first save inquiry method, adding the inquiry. So when they fill the form and click on submit button, the inquiry will be saved in the database with this method. Based on the counselor ID, record will be saved into database. Then they will go and click on view all inquiries here. When they click on view all inquiries, so initially we will get all the inquiries of the counselor in a table format. We will display all the counselor inquiries in one table format. For that, we have a method called get all inquiries method is available. So to get all inquiries, already we have created a predefined custom method here, inquiry repository dot get inquiries by counselor ID. So with that counselor ID, we are going to return list of inquiry objects. Already for the dashboard method, for the dashboard, we have created one method, select star from inquiry table where counselor ID is equal to given value. Same method I am calling once again. So get all inquiries method. What is the purpose of this get all inquiries method? When you go and click on save button, inquiry will be saved. When you click on view all inquiries, then we need to fetch all the inquiries of the logged in counselor. So I am having a method get inquiries by counselor ID, which will return list of inquiries. So this is the logic to get all the inquiries of particular counselor based on counselor ID. Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Next one, get inquiries with the filter. We'll come to that later. Get inquiry by ID. So what is the purpose of this get inquiry by ID? Get inquiry by ID method is used to implement edit functionality. So when you click on the edit functionality, that inquiry should come in the editable mode. It should come in the editable mode. So for this, there is a predefined method, inquiry repository dot find by ID. Inquiry repository dot find by ID. A predefined method is available, inquiry ID, okay, or else we are going to return null value. Return that. Based on the inquiry ID, we are going to get the inquiry object. So why we need this get inquiry by ID method, which is used to implement edit functionality. So when you see all the inquiries, then you can go and edit the record and you can update the status. So when you click on this edit functionality, then the record will go to the editable page. There you can modify and update the record. Get inquiry by ID method is for that. Then next one, get inquiries with the filter. So understand this requirement clearly. Inquiries with the filter in the sense, when you go here in the inquiries page, view inquiries page, you can filter the records based on the requirement. You can filter offline records, online records. You can filter Java records, Python records, status, open, lost, enrolled. So there are multiple options available in order to filter the records. There are multiple options available in order to filter the records. So in order to do this filter, we need to use dynamic filter. Nothing but user may not select all three. User may select, counselor may select only mode and they can filter. Counselor may select only course and they can filter. Counselor can select only status and can filter. They can select any one filter condition. They can select any two filter conditions. They can select all three filter conditions also. It depends on them how they want to filter the data. So I have explained already in the Spring Boot class. So if you go to Flipkart application, there are several filter conditions will be available in the Flipkart. So when you go to see the mobiles in the Flipkart, when you go and check the mobiles in the Flipkart, so 10,000 mobiles we are getting. Here I can select the brand as a Samsung, then the records are filtered. Samsung is selected as a brand. Then I will select RAM as a 4 GB. So two filters I applied, then I got 168 products only. Then when I come scroll down, screen size, I'm selecting some other option. Then I'm getting only 7 products only. So three filter conditions I have added. Adding all these three filters not mandatory. I can remove one filter. I can remove second filter. I can remove all filters also. So here, how many filters you can apply to filter the records, that depends on the user. That depends on the user. So in order to implement these filter conditions, our query should be generated dynamically. If I select the class mode, then select star from inquiries where class mode is equal to given value. If I select only course, select a star from table where course is equal to given value. If I select only status, select a star from inquiries where status is equal to given value. If I select any two, then query should be prepared with two conditions. If I select all three, query should be prepared with three conditions. If I don't select anything, we should retrieve all the records. Are you guys able to follow me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this filter is a dynamic filter. They can select any one filter condition. They can select any two filter conditions. They can select all three filter conditions also. So to prepare that kind of dynamic query, in the JPA, we need to use a concept called query by example concept. What is the concept we need to use, guys? Query by example concept we need to apply to prepare the filter conditions. Okay, now, so first thing, in order to work with the QBE implementation, guys, here I'm going for QBE implementation. What is the meaning of QBE implementation?
Query by example.
Query by example. So it is a dynamic query preparation. Which query we need to execute, we don't know, because if user select only one condition, in the where clause only one condition will be available. If user select two conditions, in the where clause two conditions will be available. If user select all three, based on the three conditions we need to filter the data. So how many filters we need to apply, that we don't know. How many filters we need to apply, that we don't know. So that is the reason we are going to implement query by example concept. That is dynamic query preparation we are going to implement here. Dynamic query preparation we are going to implement. So to prepare that dynamic query, so to prepare
Sir, you are not audible.
ये आवाज नहीं आ रही आवाज नहीं आ रही
Ashok, we lost your voice.
Good prediction.
guys, I got disconnected. Okay, so we are trying to understand how to create a example object. So the example object we are using to prepare a dynamic query. To prepare the dynamic query, we are using this example object. So for this, I'm going to take example dot of inquiry, so which will return example object. That example object we will pass to the find all method. The find all method will return inquiries list. Okay, that inquiries list we are returning from our method. This is the base implementation that we are doing. Okay, so get inquiries with the filter. So we need to filter the inquiries. We need to filter the inquiries based on the counselor ID and based on the filter conditions. So we need to prepare a dynamic query. To prepare the dynamic query, we are going for query by example. To prepare the dynamic query, we are going for query by example. Inquiry object I have created. With that inquiry object, I am creating the inquiry example object. Example object I am passing to find all method. Sir, why you are taking the example object? Why you are passing example object to the find all method? So with this example, you can achieve dynamic query preparation. So whatever the data available in the entity, that data will be added to the where condition of the query. So inquiry, if you pass empty inquiry object to the example, then it will retrieve all the records available in the table. If you pass empty inquiry object, then it will retrieve all the records from the table. Now, what we need to do, filter conditions we need to check, and we need to set that to the inquiry. If filter request dot get class mode. Okay, so if string utils lockback Apache Catalina util Apache Catalina lockback string utils class will be available. If string utils dot is not empty of filter request dot get class mode. If a class mode is not empty, then inquiry dot set class mode filter request dot get class mode. So that means from the UI, if you select the class mode and if you click on search, then I will check it in the filter request. If the class mode is not empty, then I will set that class mode to the inquiry object. So this is my entity. So whatever the data that is available in the entity, for that data, the query will be constructed. So here, query will be prepared dynamically, dynamic query. So to prepare the dynamic query, we need to set the data to our entity object. So in the filter request, if you get the class mode, if the class mode is not empty, then I will set the class mode to the inquiry object. Similarly, we are going to check other two conditions also. If string utils dot is not empty, filter request dot get course name. If course name is not empty, then I will set that to the entity object. Set course name, which is filter request dot get course name. So if you select both, then both will be added to the entity object, and based on both values, the query preparation will happen. If you select only class mode, then only class mode will be added to the inquiry. So when you are going for query by example, whatever the data available in your entity, based on that query will be prepared. If you don't set the data, then entity will be empty. If the entity is empty, then it will retrieve all the records from the table. Whatever the entity object you are passing for the example, based on the data available in the entity, the query construction will happen. Similarly, third condition is also there, which is status. Based on the status also, they can filter the records. If string utils dot is not empty, then filter request dot get inquiry status inquiry dot set inquiry status. Okay, then go for filter request dot get inquiry status. Right, three conditions are available. And counselor ID will come always. Counselor ID we need to set, and we need to retrieve the records. So these filter conditions are optional. Counselor ID is a mandatory. So whenever you filter, so you logged in and you are filtering your records. Based on these conditions, your records should come from the database. Okay, counselor ID also you need to set, and before you are going to get that object. So how you are going to do this? Counselor find by ID, which is counselor repository dot find by ID, which is counselor ID dot or else null value. Counselor object I am getting. Okay, counselor object I am getting. Counselor ID will come. Where is that line? Yeah. So counselor object I am going to get. Then I am going to set inquiry dot set counselor. Counselor object I will set. Then finally, that inquiry object I am passing to example. That example object I am passing to find all method, which will return list of inquiries. My method will return inquiries list. This is used to implement filter conditions. Three filters available, all three are optional. So if you select only one filter called course name as Java, then only this condition will be satisfied. Only based on the course name and the counselor ID, records will be retrieved. Look at this implementation. I'm getting the filter request, whatever the filter conditions you are selecting. You may select one filter, you may select two filters, you may select three filters. If you select a class mode, if class mode is not empty, then I will add the class mode to the entity object. If you select a course name, if course name is not empty, I will set course name to the entity. If you select inquiry status is not empty, then I will set to the inquiry object. By default, counselor ID will be available. Counselor object I will set to the inquiry. Then I will pass this entity object to the example. What is the benefit of using example? Based on the data available in the inquiry object, the query will be prepared. Select a star from inquiries where class mode is equal to given value, where course name is equal to given value, where status is equal to given value, and the counselor ID is equal to given value. So based on that, it is going to retrieve the records. If I don't pass this example object here, find all will retrieve all the records. I don't want to retrieve all the records. I want to filter the records. So that's why I'm setting the filter data to the entity object. Entity object I am passing to example object. Example object I am passing to find all method. That find all method will prepare the query based on the example, whatever the conditions available in the entity. Based on that, we are going to retrieve the records and we are going to return those records here. Is this clear for everyone?
Sir, example is Java 8 feature, sir.
Sorry?
Example is Java 8 feature, sir.
No, sir. It is the data JPA concept.
Oh, okay, sir.
Query by example is a data JPA concept. So last week only in the Spring Boot microservices course, I have explained what is query by example.
Sir, what
it is
the
used to prepare the query dynamically. When you are having dynamic filters in the project, then query by example is very, very useful.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sir, what is the shortcut to assign to local variable, sir? In
Control
Eclipse, it was
one, enter, sir.
Control 1.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Sir, is there any other way except query by example?
Other way except query by example means you need to write a custom query for that.
Okay, sir.
So if we don't give the filter condition here, we can retrieve all records, right?
Right.
Then what is the need of get all inquiries method? Here we can get now.
Sorry.
In this inquiries service class, we write the get inquiries, right? Get all inquiries. Yes, that's that method.
That is when you are coming first time, when you click on this button, first time we will display all the inquiries of the counselor. Then you can filter the data. To display all the inquiries, to handle this button, one method available. To handle search button, one method is available.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
Sir, if we have to achieve the dynamic query, then we have to write 3 custom queries. Sir. We have to achieve.
If you don't want to use query by example, then you need to write 6 queries.
Okay.
Because you don't know which filter they will select, right? They can select one, yeah. They can select any two, they can select these two, or they can select these two, they can select all three.
Oh, yeah.
Multiple permutations and combinations. It is difficult. That's why this is the recommended approach.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, now check it, guys. Are you able to implement inquiry service IMPL like this? How many of you done this implementation? How many of you not done this implementation? Can you confirm in the chat box?
Sir, in string utils, in which package utils we can take, sir?
Sorry?
In string utils class we are taking, sir.
Not empty. It will check whether that value is empty or not null or not. It's a predefined
that is
method.
Okay. Yeah, in that string utils we are taking Apache
It
as
should
an
not be null and it should not be empty. That is the method condition.
Sorry, he's asking from which package we imported.
Micrometer package is something that I have used. Micrometer package.
Yeah, okay.
That is going to check two conditions. This value codes class mode should not be null, should not be empty. Then only I will set it.
Sir, how to remember? Sir, how to remember which API has which method, sir? Like
you
for
can't
example,
remember that, sir. Based on the requirement we need to implement. You can't remember.
right, sir. For example, string util, right, sir?
Yeah.
How did you figure out this one, sir? Just practice only.
So when I am setting the data in my mind, already I got a thought. So if the value from whichever is coming from the UI, that should not be null, that should not be empty, then only we need to set it. So I know that string utils is not empty method. So it all based on experience, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
It all based on the experience.
What is micrometer, sir? I never heard of that one.
That is a new dependency that is coming in the Spring Boot, sir.
Spring Boot. Okay, sir. Okay.
So can you explain line number 80? How does it work?
Line number 80.
Example.off.
Example.off. So here you are what is the parameter you are passing for the example.off?
Okay, or filters.
Entity object we are passing, right?
Entity
Yes.
object.
Entity object we are passing to the example.off. The purpose is in this entity, whatever the data is available, based on that query will be prepared. In the entity, if there is no data available, so in the debugging, I will show you. We are going to run this code line by line and I will show you how it is working. So currently you keep in mind, example is used for dynamic query. If your entity contains class mode, that will be used in the where condition. If your entity contains course name, that will be used in the where condition. If your entity contains inquiry status, it will be used in the where condition. If all three conditions are available, where with the end operator it will use to filter the data. It is basically will check the data available in the entity object. Based on that, query will be prepared. If there is no data in the entity, then it will retrieve all the records.
Okay. But sir, off function is available in the stream API. So why is here written example.off?
Sir, JPA example, sir, you can't take the off of string class. So we are creating example to pass to the find all method. Find all method is expecting the example object. That's why we are creating the example, we are giving to the find all. You can't go with the string class, right? This is JPA concept.
Okay. So here is an example is working like as was acting like a object or
object filter. It is used for filter.
Okay.
So string utils is a predefined class or what
Yes,
is
sir. It is a predefined class to check whether the given value is null or empty or not. It is this from a package called micrometer package.
Sir, if we use different ORM tool like iBatis or something else, then we cannot use this example there, sir.
There, if you go for Hibernate, criteria API is available in the Hibernate.
Okay, sir. Okay.
In the data JPA example available, if you go for Hibernate, then there is a concept called criteria API.
Criteria API, okay.
Come on, now confirm, guys. How many of you? So now you have seen my service implementation for counselor service and repository service. So how many of you done this correctly? How many of you not done correctly? Could you please confirm in the chat box? Come on.
Sir, I did like this. I fetched all the inquiries based on the counselor ID. After that, I applied a Java ID filter.
Okay. Come on, guys. How many of you able to implement this? Service layer implementation. Make it quick. Respond quickly.
So I have done this partially, but not completely. I have implemented this one.
Dynamic filtering is totally new concept.
Dynamic filtering is a new
It's
concept.
really great.
Okay. Good. So guys, now, so any realization that you are getting before I am implementing, if you try something, then definitely you will learn the subject. If you don't do the things before coming to the class, if you just listen to the class, it's like a Malayalam movie for you.
Yes,
Hi,
sir. Yeah.
hi, Ashok.
Yeah, hi.
I have a one small question. Like we are using unique that constraint on email ID only. If email ID is same, we cannot enroll different courses, right? If we
No,
keep
sir. That
email and
duplicate email ID unique we kept for the counselor, sir, not for the employee.
oh, sorry.
Email unique is for the counselor.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you, Ashok.
Okay, good. Fine, guys. So with this, we are done with
Yeah, Ashok, one
counselor
clarification.
service, inquiry service,
Can you upload this in
implementation.
website?
Tomorrow, we are going to work on controller part and UI part, guys. So we are going to develop the controller classes and these UI pages by using TimeLeaf. And I think tomorrow and day after tomorrow, we'll complete this implementation. UI plus controllers we are going to develop from tomorrow. Okay, another 2 days, we are going to complete our first mini project. Please try to implement this code on your own. You are seeing line by line code implementation in the class. I'm not just writing the code and I'm explaining also. Please do this on your own. So today my expectation, you should complete the service implementation and you should work on controllers part for login and registration. At least login page and registration page development you have to do before coming to tomorrow's session. Okay. Good, guys. Thank you. With this, I'm stopping for today. We'll meet in the tomorrow's class.
Sir, could you share the code?
If I share the code, then you want my code? If you are asking to share me the code, then what is the use of joining the project course?
No, sir. There were many mistakes which I was doing in this path. That is the reason, just for the reference.
So let's try that. At the end, I will share it. You try to implement any mistake you are doing, any problem you are facing, you let me know. In the class, I will see your code and I will tell you where you are doing the mistake.
Okay.
If I give the code right directly, people will copy paste. I will give the code. Definitely, I will give the code, but I want you to try first. Okay.
Sir, that view inquiry filter request, right, sir? Where that is coming from, sir?
You will get from the UI, sir. Tomorrow you will understand. Once I develop the controllers and UI pages, you will understand it.
Can you go to that once quickly, sir? Service implementation class. Where is that? Get
I'm
inquiry.
taking this as an object parameter for this method. This method will be called from the controller method. I will get the filter request object.
Sir,
Basically, the filter request is search
can you
form.
click on that line number?
This is search form data we will get into the filter request object. With that request object, I will filter the data.
Yeah, can you click on that view thing, sir? Line number 59, sir. Yeah, the view inquiry filter request. Yeah, can you click on?
It is a Java class.
Okay, this is where, sir? DTO. Okay, got it. Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir, could you please also open the counselor Java class, sir?
Sorry?
Counselor Java class.
Yeah, entity class.
Ashok sir, in Spring Boot batch, when the microservices and Spring Security is going to start?
I will tell you, sir, when it is going to start. It will take another 10 days after.
Okay, sir. I want to join the only for microservice and Spring Security.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Yeah.
Good, guys. Thank you. I'm stopping for now. We'll meet again tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll work on the controllers part. Please try to implement controllers before coming to class tomorrow so that you can see your logic and my logic. Thank you, guys.
Sir,
Have a
that
great
Spring
day.
Boot, there is no batch in the evening, sir. Only in the morning, sir.
My batch is in the 9:30, sir. Evening, my batch is not there now.
Okay, sir.
Okay, cool. Thank you, guys.